Stories, I'm a fool for your love.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Eric, and in today's video I'm gonna show you guys how I took my deadlift from 225 to 430 pounds. A couple of reasons why I was able to increase my deadlift by 200 pounds roughly within give or take a year. Now, everyone that knows me knows I'm a big advocate for compound movements and the importance of compound movements. So I took it upon myself to just focus on the three major lifts: deadlift, bench, and squat, and really focus on improving those movements. So yeah, I'm gonna be going over the accessory movements that really help me complement those compound movements that help me take my deadlift from 225 pounds all the way to 430 pounds. Now, by no means am I a professional power lifter. I'm just your average gym goer that goes to the gym with the goal of getting stronger every day. So something that I always hated when I first started lifting was squats. Now, I always hated doing squats because I didn't want to grow my legs. I didn't care for squatting, and it just didn't feel comfortable to me. And once I started implementing them, my deadlift just began to skyrocket. In this clip, you guys can see me squatting. The weight is pretty light just for demonstrational purposes, but it's very important that when you do a squat, you hit depth past 90 degrees. Some people would even advise against it. It just comes down to whatever you feel comfortable with, but I would for sure recommend at least hitting 90 degrees to make sure that you're getting a full range of motion. We don't want to see no quarter squatting, because we all know quarter squatting doesn't count, right? Quick note is that oftentimes when people are beginning to squat and they're beginning to reach depth for the first time with a challenging weight, they start to get like weak knees or weak ankles. And that's when their ankles or their knees begin to like cave in as they lower the weight. And this could be for one of two reasons. This could be because either the weight's too heavy, or it could also be because the shoes you're wearing are not appropriate for squatting. It could be as simple as the shoes that you're wearing are not appropriate for squatting. Now, when I switch over to wearing no shoes, which would be a variation of having a flat surface to step on, it becomes a lot easier for me to control the weight through my leg. Now, another exercise that I've used to increase my deadlift is the Jefferson deadlift. Now, this is a lift that gets slept on a lot. Not a lot of people try it, but trust me, if you use it, you'll notice that your deadlift and your sumo deadlift both are just gonna increase as your weight on the Jefferson increases. Once you get past the awkward stage, it's a really good exercise to use just as an overall muscle builder and strength builder that will carry on to other lifts. One thing to keep in mind here is notice my feet. One of them is ahead of me in the 12 o'clock position, and the other one is what you would call like 6 o'clock. And that allows you to have a proper leverage so that you don't feel like you're rocking back and forth as you're pulling the weight up. It just as any other deadlift, make sure your back is straight, tighten up your lats, and drive with your legs all the way till you get to the top of the movement. As I mentioned before, the Jefferson deadlift uses similar movements as the sumo deadlift. That's why I like to incorporate it when I'm actively trying to increase my sumo deadlift. In this study by the Duke University Medical Center, they actually studied the muscle activations between a conventional deadlift and a sumo deadlift, and they noticed that in the sumo deadlift you have a lot more hamstring activation. So training your vastus medialis and your vastus lateralis is something that could really help you increase the sumo deadlift. So in these clips you'll see me using the hamstring curl. You could either do seated or laying down. It's really important that you notice that your hips are slightly flexed when you do this motion to allow you to fully extend the hamstring through the whole range of motion. Something you want to avoid on this for sure though is raising up your butt as you're doing this exercise. The actual like flexion and extension of your hips while doing this exercise is gonna take over the hamstrings. Now, another workout that is very good for just helping you develop strength on the sumo deadlift is hip adductors. Now, I know that for guys this might be a little uncomfortable to do at first, but trust me, it's something that if you incorporate into your workout routine and you're trying to increase your sumo, it's gonna help you tremendously. There is a variation of this that might feel a little more comfortable for the guys. Something that I would recommend for sure is that with your leg, you push past midline. That's gonna be huge. That way you get a full stretch and a full range of motion. You don't have to go crazy heavy on this move. That way you have a good base when you're trying to pull off the ground. Now, another move that often gets slept on when you're thinking of deadlifts is the lat pull downs and just working on your back in general. You've seen a lot of people when they start a deadlift that they'll hunch over their back. And in order to prevent this, you want to make sure that you have your spinal erectors and your lats strong enough to withstand the weight that you're pulling. So you want to make sure you train your lats. I don't necessarily train them the day that I'm planning to do deadlifts, but like I said, this video is about the complementary exercises that I use to increase the sumo deadlift. So while doing this exercise, just avoid rocking back and forth. Keep the contraction on your lats at all times. Now, when it comes to doing the actual sumo deadlift, one thing that's really important is your stance. So make sure you can go as wide as comfortably possible and that your toes are aiming towards the plates, towards the front part of the plates. That way you will have a good leverage and you won't feel like there's too much weight pushing on the side of your ankles. Now, once you assume the stance, it's very important that you straighten out your back, push through the movement. Like with the conventional deadlift, you don't want to try to extend your legs and then pull with your lower back, because that is gonna make you prone to injury. So in this clip right here, I'm showing you guys how I'm more or less kind of just lifting with my lower back and how you should stand as opposed to how you shouldn't. Notice how my back is rounded here. And that's not gonna allow me to push with my hips and then pull through the whole motion. As opposed, you wanna lean back into it, straighten out your back, and then push through the motion. That will allow you to pull more weight, and it'll feel more comfortable on your knees, and it'll be less harsh on your back. So it'll help you prevent a little bit of back injury. Now, I incorporate the deadlift about once or twice a week in my workout, depending how much energy I have. In this study by Palestra of the Third Millennium Civilization and Sports shows their top-down method, in which they had athletes train the 3 major lifts 2 to 3 times a week and saw how their numbers skyrocketed as opposed to someone who only trained them once a week. I'm not going as far as training them 3 times a week, but I feel like twice a week for someone that's not actively looking to compete should be enough to kind of get the strength levels up a bit. I'll insert a clip here of how my 425-pound deadlift attempt went. I don't have footage of my 430 attempt. I might try to record it soon just to show. But notice how, even though the clip is very short, I implement exactly what I went through. And being able to lift that much weight, I felt no pain on my back, no pain on my knees, and the weight went up relatively smoothly. And finally, the reason why I believe training sumo deadlift is important is because I agree with what one of the biggest fitness YouTubers says, Jeff Cavalier, is that if you want to look like an athlete, you have to train like an athlete. Now, there's studies that show that the barbell deadlift and any of its variations shows to have a major impact in increasing athletes' vertical jump. This study here by Journal of Strength and Conditioning showed how athletes who excel in the deadlift actually excel on their vertical jumps. And it would go hand in hand that they would also probably do really good on the squat. So that's gonna close out the video. I hope this helps people that are trying to increase their deadlift, kind of have some pointers as to what to do, what not to do. And hopefully one can see that there is research behind training the deadlift. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is just kind of like my take on the deadlift and why I train, and the research that I've seen behind how to train the deadlift, why it's important to train the deadlift if you're just trying to be overall more complete athlete. Kind of like the do's and don'ts of certain accessory movements that I've seen. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Eric, and we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.